Hello everybody, welcome back to another podcast. So last weekend, Men in Black International, Shaft, and The Dead Don't Die were released in theaters. Let's see how those movies did at the box office. Alright, let's jump right in. So coming in at number 1 is Men in Black International, the movie I said would come in number 1 if my predictions my prediction came true. And it sort of did, right? Except the numbers were way off. I said Men in Black could probably open to 50 to 55 million. Just mainly based on the, past performances of the previous 3 movies, the movies with Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones, right? Except this one doesn't have Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. And this one is led by Chris Hemsworth and Rebecca Ferguson, among others. Liam Neeson is in here as well. But it does have the Men in Black brand, and I said, it's the summer, kids are out of school, college age kids are also out of school as well. So, there are a lot of people that would hunger for maybe an action sci-fi adventure movie like Men in Black. Except that that didn't happen. So the movie opened to about 30 million on its opening weekend, right? Way below my 50 to 55 million. Mainly because I guess the people who I thought were there weren't, right? This week were, in general, were pretty weak as well, with the top movie just opening to 30 million. That is, Men in Black International. And, I say, Chris Hemsworth, outside of his Marvel movies, his movies then, only did so. And, he's leading this cast. And I thought, hey, the Men in Black brand might help this, might bump this up a bit, to, have an opening in line with the previous movies. That's the Will Smith effect of the previous 3 movies and Tommy Lee Jones as well. And this one, like I say, is brand new territories, brave new world. And, I guess a Men in Black without Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones is not really Men in Black, right? They led the cast. And this attempt at a reboot or spin-off did okay, right? 30 million on a budget of 110 million. I mean, the budget is not high for a movie of this type, right? Let's see how it did overseas. So according to boxofficemojo, it pulled in about 74 million from overseas. I'm not sure. I mean, only a few countries reporting in. I'm not sure if it opened in China yet. But, it's looking bright overseas, right? So for a worldwide total of 104 million or so worldwide, and the budget is 110 million. So give it a couple more weeks, it'll make its production budget back, right? Will it be profitable? Domestically, it looks like it's not going to, do it. It's not going to be a high grosser as the previous 3 movies. But, reaching 100 million is not entirely out of the question. Crossing the 100 million barrier domestically is not out of the question. But it just depends on, the word of mouth and if this movie has legs or not. Because reviews-wise, 25% on Rotten Tomatoes. So critics hated this movie, right? They didn't think that, I guess it lived up to the previous 3 movies. But a B cinema score is actually kind of decent for like an audience score. So we'll see how this goes, right? But with the upcoming competition from like Toy Story 4, Spider-Man, and others, Lion King as well, I don't know, the prospect for Men in Black staying in theaters is kind of low. It's kind of low, right? Or that even though it might stay in the top 10 for a couple more weeks, right, its take will be slow because bigger, more promising movies will be coming in theaters. So that is Men in Black International with a 30 million opening for this spin-off. All right, let's move on to number 2, which is The Secret Life of Pets 2. The movie dropped about 48% from the previous weekend to pull in 24.4 million. Domestic gross is about 92 million so far, and let's see, worldwide it is at 155 million with 63 million from overseas. So it's not doing as well as the previous Secret Life of Pets movie, but the budget is low, relatively low, only 80 million. So it's still going to be big grosser for Universal, especially when the domestic and overseas grosses are taken into account. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see another sequel in this franchise. Number 3 is Aladdin, the live-action adaptation of one of Disney's animated classics. Right, it pulled in 17.3 million in its fourth weekend. Drop-off is about 30% from the previous week. Domestic gross is 264 million, and let's see, worldwide 727 with 462 million from overseas. So it's another hit for Disney in its live-action endeavors, right? Okay, number 4 is Rocketman, the biopic about Elton John. It pulled in about 9.4 million over the weekend, a 32% drop off from the previous week. Domestic gross is about 67 million. Budget is about 40 million. And let's see, overseas, 67 million for a worldwide total of 133 million. So it's not as big as Bohemian Rhapsody or Star is Born, but hey, it's holding on its own since the budget's only 40 million. So yeah. Okay, number 5 is the big bomb Dark Phoenix, which is the latest X-Men movie. In the second weekend, it dropped about 72% from its opening weekend to pull in 9.4 million. So domestic gross is about 52 million so far, and let's see, worldwide 204 million with 152 million of that from overseas, and the budget is reportedly 200 million because of reshoots and all. So yeah, it's going to be a money loser for Fox unless it can pull in like huge numbers overseas, and for now it's kind of pulling in huge numbers. But domestically it's gonna struggle, right? And we don't know if it will fall off overseas as well. Yeah, the budget is 200 million right now. It's only about 204 million worldwide. You need at least 400 million plus to break even, right? So yeah, long ways to go for Dark Phoenix. All right, number 6 is one of the new releases last weekend, which is Shaft, the sequel to the 2000 movie. Samuel L. Jackson is back to play his role. Now Shaft Jr. is back. Shaft Jr. is enlisting his help to help solve the death of his best friend, right? This is a movie that I said could probably pull in 25 to 30 million because Shaft is kind of a cult movie. Samuel L. Jackson has his fans. It's targeted toward like the African American audience, which is usually very reliable, that could pull in 20 to 30 million if the right movie comes along, and more if it hits beyond that demographic, right? Except this one, Shaft, only pulled in 8.9 million. Far from the 25 to 30 million I thought this movie could do in its opening weekend. So 8.9 million, about 9 million. Why? Could be the poor reviews. 33% on Rotten Tomatoes, but an A cinema score. So those who saw it liked it, right? Generally. But critically, it's not there for this movie. And, I said, the last movie was back in 2000, and they're bringing another one like 19 years later. So that is a long gap. And like I said, this Shaft really isn't a franchise because of how far apart the movies, were, right? So I'm not entirely surprised that Shaft earn so low, even though I am. I'm surprised because hey, it's a Samuel L. Jackson led movie. It has action pieces in it as well, except that this movie just didn't pull in its demographic, surprisingly. So yeah, Shaft is kind of a letdown for Warner Brothers and fans of this character. And yeah, we're gonna go like a long drought between another Shaft movie as well, judging by this take this opening figure. All right, number 7 is Godzilla, King of Monsters, a movie that I thought would perform better, but didn't. It pulled in 7.8 million in its third weekend, drop off about 43%. Domestic gross is about 94 million, so it's getting across the 100 million barriers. It's getting there, right? So this is a movie that I thought would open to 95 to 100 million because the previous Godzilla movie opened so well. The previous Godzilla opened to 93 million, went on to make 200 million domestically and 529 million worldwide. I thought this movie, with its expanded cast of monsters for Godzilla to contend with, would do better. Because it's kind of like the Avengers of creature features here. There's Rodan, I think. There's Mothra, Ghidorah, and there's others. But this movie only opened to about 48 million. Way below my 95 to 100 million. Again, it seems like these last couple of weeks I was kind of off with my projections. So here we go, Godzilla, King of Monsters. Yeah. So what does that say about the upcoming Godzilla versus King Kong movie? Maybe that one could do better because King Kong is more of an American brand. Could have a bigger attraction than Godzilla. But in any case, right, Godzilla, King of Monsters just is not doing it for Warner Brothers for this one. Just not doing as well as the previous movie. All right, number 8 is the third John Wick movie, John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum. In its fifth weekend, it pulled in 6.4 million, a 14% drop off from the previous week. So, low drop off there. So domestic gross is 148 million, and let's see how it did overseas. 127 million overseas for a worldwide total of 276 million. And the third John Wick is the highest performing John Wick movie domestically and worldwide. All right, number 9 is Late Night, a movie that is led by Emma Thompson, about a news anchor who shows this on the cuffs of being cut. And, I guess it's a workplace comedy by Amazon Studios. This is its second weekend, right? It added, like over 2,000 theaters. It expanded. So in its expansion, it pulled in about 5.3 million. It's well reviewed, 80% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a B+ cinema score. So well reviewed. Comedy. I don't know if you'll find an expanded audience after this. We'll see the next weekend. All right, closing out the top 10 is Avengers Endgame. It pulled in about 3.7 million in this 8th weekend, drop off about 24% from the previous week. Domestic gross is 830 million, and overseas it pulled in a 1.9 billion for a worldwide total of 2.7 billion. What we're interested is in the all-time figure, right? Because it's in contention for the top movie. Let's see. Domestically, for all time, it is still behind Star Wars The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens has 936 million, and Avengers Endgame had 836 million. So still ways to go, 100 more. 106 million more to go to catch up, and I don't think you'll get there domestically. Let's see, worldwide. So worldwide, there's about 40 plus more million to go. So yeah, it's still there. We'll see next week how close it can get. But it's getting close for worldwide, but domestically it won't catch up to The Force Awakens. Okay, so that's it for the top 10. Let's move on to the new releases this weekend. We're going to have 3, the biggest of which is Toy Story 4. And then there is the Child's Play reboot and Anna, the new actioner from Luc Besson. Let's start off with Toy Story 4. So in this one, this focus on Bonnie, the sister of Andy, right? So she has all his toys now, and she has a new favorite, which is a spork that she fastened herself into a new toy with eyes and mouth and all, right? And on a road trip, the spork fell off the camper, or he jumped off himself, and Woody went after him, and they in this movie they attempt to get back to the camper, reunite with Bonnie, right? And along the way, the pair met, Bo, who is the leader of this like a lost, group of lost toys, right? And this, and they discovered, and Woody discovered, hey, there's life beyond, what he's in right now, right? Which is, there's more kids out there in need of toys. So Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Mel Brooks, Christina Hendricks, even Keanu Reeves joined the voice cast for this one. Well, yeah, it's a beloved franchise, and I think Toy Story 4 is gonna do well in this fourth iteration, right? In this fourth iteration, let's say the first one, opened to 29 million. That's a ways back, right? Went on to make 191 million domestically, 373 million worldwide. The second movie, pretty much almost doubled, opened to 57 million and went on to make 247 million domestically and 497 million worldwide. And then the third movie is where they made the leap, right? 110 million opening, 450 million domestically, and 1 billion worldwide. So with the goodwill of all the movies, they're all good. This movie could have, will have an opening, that would be in excess of the third movie, which is 10 million, right? So, if Finding Dory could have 135 million opening, and Incredibles 2 had like 180 million plus opening, this one I think will probably exceed those two movies, right? So I think this movie conservatively could open to like 185 million plus. I could see it opening more, right? But 185 million plus is, 185 is kind of like the lower limit, unless I'm wrong again. But for Toy Story 4, I think it's gonna be right there, right? 185 million as a baseline for Toy Story 4, but potential to open higher. All right, up next is Child's Play, which is a reboot about a story about a doll that got possessed by the spirit of a serial killer. That this guy, this kid needs is lonely, and his mom bought a toy for him, a doll for him, that somehow got taken over by evil spirit, and he started killing people. So this is that movie. So like with Toy Story's huge opening, it's going to be huge, right? Unless I'm wrong. I don't think there's going to be enough box office dollars for the previous movies, especially for a franchise that's kind of on the out and out, like Child's Play. Even though it's a reboot, not many people remember it, or that interested in it. So I think an opening for about 5 million for Child's Play is about right. All right, up next is Anna, the new action movie by Luc Besson. The title character is Anna, and Polatova, I believe. She is a spy, killer, and assassin. Out to kill people, right? And in the title character is Sasha Luce. She's a newcomer, I guess. It's kind of similar to Lucy, right? The previous Luc Besson movie, but that one has Scarlett Johansson. This one has Sasha Luce. Supporting cast include Helen Mirren, Cillian Murphy, and Luke Evans, among others, right? Like I said, Lucy had an opening of about 44 million. Anna, I think it's gonna be less. Because Luce is no Johansson, right? I guess especially over here, like nobody knows who she is, and for these type of movies, you need someone, a name in the lead to attract the crowd. So but Luc Besson, he has his fans as well. But I don't think it's going to have an opening in the 40s. I think it's going to be, in the low sub 10, right? 8 to 10 million opening for Anna. Again, because of the high opening for Toy Story 4. Unless, again, there are people who are looking for more action-oriented movies. But Anna can satiate that thirst for it. But I'm thinking that all eyes are going to be on Toy Story 4 this weekend. All right, that's it for this week's podcast. Tune in next week to see how I did. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.